Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Mrs. English Learning. I'm Brianna, and sitting across from me in our high-tech studio is my co-host, Reza. Today is a bit meta, isn't it, Reza?
It certainly is, Brianna. For those who don't know the term, meta means something that refers to itself. Today, we are recording a podcast about recording a podcast.
Exactly. We wanted to take you behind the scenes to show you the language of broadcasting and digital media. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of how we make this show, we have to do our favorite part of the intro.
You read my mind. To all our new listeners and our longtime fans, if you find these lessons valuable, please give us a follow or subscribe. It really boosts our visibility in the podcast charts and helps other English learners find us.
It really does make a difference. Every like, follow, and subscribe is like a little thank you to us, and we appreciate it so much. Now, let's look at how we actually start a show. In our short script, we had a very standard intro. Let's hear the expanded version of how Reza and I prepare for a recording session. Sound effect. The on-air light clicks on with a faint buzz. The sound of adjusting a microphone stand, a metallic creak.
Check 1, 2. Brianna, can you hear me okay in your headphones? I think my levels are a bit low.
Let me check the soundboard. Yeah, you're coming through a bit quiet. Let me crank up the gain a little bit. How's that?
Perfect, crystal clear. Okay, are we ready to roll?
Almost. I just need to check the show notes one more time. Today we're covering travel, right?
That's the plan. We'll start with the intro, move into the main segment, and then finish with our word of the day.
Great, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. And upbeat music fades in and then ducks under the voices.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mrs. English Learning podcast. I'm your host, Reza, and I am joined by the brilliant Brianna.
Hi there. We are so glad you could tune in today. We have a fantastic episode lined up for you. Today, we're going to talk about travel and vacations.
That's an exciting topic. Everyone loves a good holiday, whether it's a staycation or a trip across the globe.
Exactly. We'll be sharing some of our favorite travel stories and, more importantly, the vocabulary you need to navigate an airport, a hotel, and a new city. So stay tuned. And cut. That was a great take, Reza. Let's break down some of that radio talk for our students. You asked about your levels.
Yes, in the world of audio, levels refers to the volume of the sound. If your levels are peaking, it means you are too loud and the sound is distorting. If they are low, the audience won't be able to hear you.
And I said I would crank up the gain. This is a very common phrasal verb. To crank something up means to increase the volume or power of something significantly. You can crank up the music at a party, too.
Then I asked, are we ready to roll? This is an old expression from the days when movie cameras used actual rolls of film. Today, it just means, are we ready to start recording?
We also use the term tune in. This also comes from old radios where you had to tune a dial to tune into a specific frequency. Now we use it to mean watch or listen to any broadcast. Make sure to tune in next week.
I mentioned a main segment. A podcast or a TV show is usually divided into segments or parts. This helps keep the show organized so the listeners don't get bored.
And I mentioned show notes. These are the written descriptions or the outline of the podcast. If you look at the description of this episode on your phone, those are the show notes. They often contain links and extra vocabulary.
Now, here is a modern word I used, staycation. Brianna, can you explain this portmanteau?
A portmanteau is when you blend two words together. Staycation is a blend of stay and vacation. It means a holiday where you stay at home or stay in your own city and visit local attractions instead of traveling far away.
It became very popular over the last few years. It's a great way to save money while still feeling like you're on a break.
We also use the phrase lined up. I said we have a fantastic episode lined up. This means we have things prepared and organized in a sequence. I have 3 interviews lined up tomorrow.
One thing listeners might notice is that we often use fillers or crutch words when we talk naturally, like or like. In a podcast, we try to avoid those to keep the audio clean.
That's why we sometimes have to edit the audio. To edit means to cut out the mistakes or the long silences, so the final version sounds professional.
Speaking of professional, Brianna, I think we should remind our listeners about the subscribe button one more time. It's the best way to support the show and ensure you get a notification the second a new episode drops.
Drops is another great word. When a new album or a new podcast episode is released, we say it drops. The new season drops on Friday. Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. From cranking up the levels to staycations, you're now ready to start your own podcast in English.
Maybe one day they can come on our show as a guest.
That would be amazing. Thanks for joining us for this behind-the-scenes look at Mrs. English Learning.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and we'll catch you in the next segment.
Bye for now.